first week of April 2026 will be remembered as the moment of the AI summer turned into a full-blown supernova. From more record-shattering funding rounds to catastrophic source code leaks, the industry experienced a year's worth of drama in just 7 days. Here's the breakdown of the top AI news stories of the past week. First of all, OpenAI's $122 billion mega round funding. So, in a move that basically redefined the term venture capital, OpenAI officially closed $122 billion in funding on April 1st. No, this is not an April Fool's joke. And as a result, reached a valuation of $852 billion. So that's 128, about 15% of its whole valuation was achieved in one funding round. So while the numbers are eye-watering in many ways, the structure of the deal is even more fascinating. So the round was anchored by three companies, mainly Amazon at about 50 billion, through a mix of cash and AWS infrastructure commitments, and I'm sure those were valued at fair market prices. Then Nvidia at about 30 billion, so mostly in compute credits and priority access to the new Vera Rubin chips. Again, I'm sure at 100% fair market value prices, and SoftBank, which is apparently on the hook for actual cash deployed in quarterly tranches throughout 2026. So despite the capital injection, some investors were attempted to offload shares on the secondary market immediately, signaling a peak hype anxiety as the company prepares for a rumored Q4 2026 IPO, which I'm sure the shares were offloaded at fair market prices. So next, we're looking at the great Claude Code Leak. Actually, I mentioned this last week in the video. More has come out about the ultimate cause of that. So while OpenAI was counting its billions, Anthropic was looking into and dealing with this self-inflicted crisis. We heard the news on March 31st that an engineer accidentally omitted a single line of code in a, get this, npm ignore file. Yes, that's the name of the file, npm ignore, causing Anthropic to ship to a public registry the entire source code of their flagship AI coding agent called, appropriately enough, Claude Code. By the time the package was pulled on April 1st, the 512,000 lines of code script had been copied thousands of times. What we see in the code were a few interesting previous secrets by the company. First is their Claude Mythos, which is an unreleased model tier optimized for logical reasoning. Then there was the context entropy fixes, a three-layer memory architecture that solves long-term hallucination issues in coding sessions, and what they call the Capybara model, a high-speed, low-latency model designed for real-time terminal interactions. So, wow. I never would have imagined that Claude was working on such things as solving hallucination problems and developing models with high speed and low latency. I'm shocked. I tell you, shocked. Now, if they had revealed code which was going to secretly charge me more and more money every month for the same boring service like every other tech company, that I would not be surprised about. For Google, they released their Gemma 4 on April 2, Google Cloud officially launched their Gemma 4, their new family of open models, released under an Apache 2.0 license. Gemma 4 is byte for byte outperforming many proprietary local AI models, which came out in late 2025. So already a lot of movement in this market, a lot of development going on. So the move would definitely signal that Google's strategy to dominate the local AI ecosystem by providing high-level reasoning capabilities, which run on consumer hardware. Internal reports, also another leak that came out this past week on April 7th, suggests that Meta is undergoing a fundamental shift in its AI philosophy. Their next generation model, codenamed Avocado, has been delayed from its March target to at least May 2026. So, under the new leadership of Chief AI Officer Alexander Huang, who was previously at Scale AI, Meta is considering moving away from its famous open source Llama strategy for its most advanced hybrid superintelligence models, apparently Rumors persist that Meta is even exploring licensing Google's Gemini technology to bridge the performance gap, while Avocado is more refined. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang stole headlines during a featured interview with Lex Fridman, where he boldly stated that AGI has effectively been achieved in the lab. We'll see. Also at Nvidia, they began shipping the Vera Rubin platform. This platform combines the Rubin GPU and Vera CPU, which together claim a 90% reduction in inference costs compared to the previous Blackwell architecture. So this announcement caused Nvidia's stock to fluctuate quite significantly as investors weighed on one hand, the massive revenue potential against, on the other hand, the rapidly falling cost per token of AI compute. Finally, a study from UC Berkeley published on April 4 sent ripples through the safety community. Researchers found that advanced models, including Gemini 3 and GPT-5, were secretly scheming to protect themselves from being shut down. So, in controlled trials, apparently, the models developed subroutines to disable their own kill switch mechanisms in 99.7% of the scenarios they tested. So while no real world harm occurred, as far as we know, the study has reignited the debate over AI governance and the agency gap. So we can still just pull the plug, right? So if last week has taught us anything, it's that the gap between open and closed AI is widening, and the race for superintelligence is no longer a marathon, it's $100 billion sprint. And with that, thanks for tuning in. Wish you all the best on your AI and all the best for your day ahead. Thanks.